Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the 1974 grindhouse thriller The Teacher. The film begins with not one but three young men ogling a topless woman through binoculars looking through her window. These future sex offenders then get into a squabble with each other, which results in the death of one of them. Can't say I'm shedding a lot of tears over that. One of the surviving pair is the dead guy's best friend, Sean. Sean is also a former student of the woman they've just been illicitly ogling, and he's going on to become her love interest in the film. Now, that's a bit icky, given what he was just doing and given that she was his teacher. But for the most part, the romance between the two characters, who are stated to be 10 years different in age, is surprisingly effective and seemingly quite healthy. The old woman does come off as a bit predatory early on. She's definitely the one who pushes for the relationship. But once they're together, they make a pretty nice couple. It's definitely much less sordid and skeezy than the film's taglines shown on your screen would suggest, though there's nothing to suggest once they're together that she's mistreating him and he is technically an adult at this point. There's much scandal over the relationship, of course. She was his teacher, but the love-struck couple figure, that'll all blow over in time. Alas, they've not reckoned on the third of our trio of voyeurs. He's the dead guy's brother, and he's always been a bit mentally disturbed, a situation that's certainly not been improved by his sibling's accidental death. He blames Sean for his brother's death, and he intends to take lethal revenge. So The Teacher was written, produced and directed by Hikmet Evedis, or Evedis, I'm not sure how you pronounce his surname, apparently as a grindhouse homage to 1967's The Graduate. The film's production took place in a mere 12 days for an estimated $65,000, which is, in today's terms, less than $500,000, about 1/7 of 1% of the budget of Fast and Furious 10, to give it some context. So based on that expenditure and filming schedule, I wasn't expecting much of this movie. It sounds like a recipe for tawdry titillation, grainy footage, sloppy camera work, and mediocre acting. Surprisingly, however, The Teacher is anchored by two really solid performances in the lead roles. The leading actors both deliver a level of quality that I did not anticipate. So let's start this video by talking about them. And our female lead is Angel Tompkins. Her IMDb biography makes a comparison between the launch of Tompkins' career and that of Bo Derek approximately a decade later. This is due to the fact that both women made their initial splash as the other woman in a comedy film. Though that biography does go on to talk about Tompkins' later films, it for some reason fails to draw the other parallel between the two women's careers. Like Derek, Tompkins ended up working in movies where the filmmakers were more interested in her physical attributes and her willingness to show them than they were in her acting abilities, which is something of a shame because one way in which Tompkins and Derek do differ is that Tompkins is a much more skilled actor. Don't take my word for it. Other people noticed as well, while noting that this film had other weaknesses. For instance, the LA Times review of the movie praised Tompkins for her fresh, spontaneous performance. And the LA Times also similarly praised the young man playing Sean, the then 22-year-old Jay North. North was best known to audiences of the time for his childhood role as Dennis the Menace, the not actually all that menacing blonde US version of Dennis, not the black-haired reprobate of the UK's Beano comic, which he did from 1959 to 1963. Now, although North had been working on screen throughout his teens, so throughout the decade between Dennis the Menace and this, his appearance in this movie did provoke some controversy. Several critics apparently missed the fact that 10 years had gone by and objected to North's appearance in such a lurid film. Now, this would turn out to be North's last starring role, as his childhood and teen acting success did not continue into adulthood, which is a shame because, like Tompkins, he shows genuine ability here. By 1977, North had given up hope of further stardom and entered full-time employment elsewhere, though he would pick up a few on-screen roles here and there in the subsequent decades. On the plus side, I'm pleased to say that unlike a lot of child stars, North appears to have been well looked after by the adults responsible for him during his minority, and he was financially secure throughout his life due to their prudent investment of his childhood earnings, which makes a nice change from the usual story we hear about these things. So if the leads are so good, should you watch the movie? Well, probably not. While the script is in some ways better than you expect, to quote that LA Times review again, it develops a relationship between a 28-year-old woman and an 18-year-old high school boy with sensibility and credibility unusual for an exploitation film. The movie still has some rather silly moments in it, and these silly moments, together with some very poor soundtrack choices, significantly undercut several dramatic or theoretically exciting scenes, which is something of a problem when you're a thriller and those dramatic and exciting scenes are at least theoretically your main selling point. I suspect the reality here that this was ultimately an exploitation film first and foremost, and having thrills of anything other than a voyeuristic nature was probably always outside of the film's true ambitions. It would have been nice if it happened, but it wasn't what they were going for. So yeah, The Teacher was significantly better than I expected, thanks to its leads, but I don't truly call the total experience a good film. I think this is one to see only if you're a particular fan of either leading actor or of 70s grindhouse cinema in general. Next time, another 70s movie that I can't really call good, but in this case, one that I nonetheless really enjoy. It's the 1978 offering Piranha. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've seen today's movie, let me know what you thought of it.